Hi. Now we'll be looking at factoring. So let's consider some examples. So example 1, we want to factor 3 minus 27 x squared. Now to factor this, all I need to know is what is common to the terms of this polynomial. Now if you look closely, you observe that 3 is common because 3 can go here and then 3 can also divide the second term. So we have 3 to be common. So we have 3 is common into, now 3 in 3 we have 1 minus 27 divided by 3 we have 9x squared. But it doesn't stop there. We need to see if there is a way we can divide even the final product if it is divisible. Now what you observe here is you have a negative sign. Now many a times whenever you have a negative sign in a polynomial that contains two terms, then it is most likely you are going to use the difference of two squares. Now you recall one of the sum formulas you have the difference of two squares. You recall that if you have x squared minus a squared is the same thing as x minus a times x plus a. Now this time around we have 1 minus 9x squared. So my aim is, how can I write my 1 and my 9x squared in this format? Anyway, a very good way to look at this whole thing is by writing it like you have, this is the same thing as 1 squared minus, now you have 9 here. Now 9 is the same thing as 3 squared x squared. Now do you recall one of the laws of exponent that says ab squared equals a squared b squared? So that implies if we have 3 squared x squared, so that will give us 3x all squared. So in other words, I could rewrite this as 1 squared minus 3x all squared. So now we have difference of two squares. And whenever we have the difference of two squares, it simply implies the first minus the second. That's 1 negative 3x times 1 plus 3x. So that's what we're going to write here. So it's going to be 3 into 1 negative 3x times 1 plus 3x. It's quite simple. Now let's look at that example. This one says we're told to factor 9x squared minus 12x plus 4. Now to factor this, there are actually different ways of factoring this. But a very good way that some might consider probably too simplified is, the first thing is you want to form the product, multiply the first term by the last term. That is the first term, the coefficients, the first term that contains the term that has the highest degree. That is 9x squared times 4, and that gives us 36x squared. And then for the sum, we'll write what we have here, which is negative 12x. So what I need is, I need two numbers such that when I multiply them, I'm going to have 36x squared, and then when I add them, I'm going to have negative 12x. Now to find those two numbers, to make it simple for me, I'm going to find the prime factors of 36. Now how do I find the prime factor of 36? You have 36 here. The smallest number that can go in 36 is 2. So we have 18. So we start with the smallest number again that can go in 18 is 2. We have 9. Now 2 cannot go in 9. So we go to the next number, 3. So 3 can go in 9. So we have 3. Then 2 cannot go. So we go to the next number, which is 3. And then 3 in 3, that is 1. So all the numbers that I need, that is the two numbers I need, is just going to be a permutation of all the numbers that I have here. So these are the numbers I have to play with, so I can find those two numbers such that when you multiply them you have 36x squared, and when you add them you have negative 12x. And then when you look closely, we have 2 and 2. 2 and 2 gives me 4. 3 and 3 gives me 9. 9 times 4 is 36, but negative 9, negative 4 is going to give me negative 13. So this doesn't work. Doesn't work. When I look closely, you have 2 times 2, 4 times 3, 12. 12 and 3. No, that does not work. 2 times 2, 4. Let's say 2 times 3. So let's take 2 and 3. 2 and 3. So 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. So negative 6 gives me negative 12. And negative 6 times negative 6 gives me 36. Yeah, so that works. So the two numbers I'm looking for is going to be negative 6x and negative 6x. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to replace what I have here by those two numbers. So what we're going to have next is going to be 9x squared negative 6x plus 4. And then we factorize. Now what's common in 9x squared and negative 6x? So that's 3x into, you have 3x minus 2. And then what's common here is negative 2 into 3x. Now you should always watch out. Whenever you have a negative sign here, the sign here changes. So if it is negative that is here, it changes to plus. But since it's positive sign that is here, so we're going to have a negative sign here, which is 2. Now at this stage, you need to check or you need to confirm that whatever you have here must be equal to what you have here. Now when what you have in this bracket and this bracket, if they are not the same thing at this stage of your factorization, it simply implies you have made a mistake. So you need to cross check your whole working. So now at this stage, 3x minus 2 is common to the two of them. So we have 3x negative 2, and then we'll be left with, so we have 3x negative 2, and then this times this is going to give us 3x negative 2 squared, and that completes the problem.